On today's episode of Time About the Movies, we're kicking off a brand new month of films with a sequel to one of the big surprises from 2009, Taken 2, with Liam Neeson back in the role of Brian Mills. We also have a Tim Burton short film from back in the 80s coming to life as a stop-motion animated feature with Disney's Frankenweenie. And then a couple of independent movies, ranging from wide ranges, including Lee Daniels' follow-up to Precious, The Paperboy, a quirky little indie comedy called Butter, and an anthology film in VHS. It's October 5th, 2012. This is Time About the Movies. Let's go. And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that make up October 5th of 2012. And we start off, of course, with the biggest new release, and that is Taken 2, a sequel to 2009's breakout hit, with Liam Neeson back again as retired CIA officer Brian Mills, and ends up with his family in Istanbul, including his ex-wife, played by Famke Janssen, and his daughter, played by Maggie Grace, and surprise, surprise, it's another Here We Go Again sequel where he's kidnapped along with his ex-wife and by the father of one of the men he killed while saving his daughter 2 years earlier. So the movie essentially is, let's do a role reversal this time around. Instead of the daughter getting kidnapped, we're going to have the parents getting kidnapped, and it's Maggie Grace's job to save the day. And credit for at least trying something different, but you pretty much have taken The Hangover Part 2 right here, pretty much, because this is very much the same movie as the last film, except the roles are reversed, and yeah, it's definitely a Here We Go Again sequel, where it's literally a film where everybody's been reduced down to where they were before. Nothing has changed from the events of the last film. It's like the last film never even happened. And unlike with the first film, which was a really good movie that really took a lot of people by surprise, this is about what you expect for a movie like this. A film that just takes the same storyline we've seen before in the last movie and done it in the same way, but less than spectacular than what happened the first time around. Yeah, nothing of intrigue happens in here. Nothing amazing happens in this. This is a pretty lousy film in general here, but to its credit, it is definitely the better of the 2 Taken sequels that we're going to get to, because Taken 3, oh man, what a mess that is, but actually, no, I take that back. Taken 3 is probably a better movie than Taken 2, mostly because of the so bad it's good levels of craziness that goes on in there. Taken 2 is just kind of a bland sequel in general, and I'll explain Taken 3 once we get to 2015, but yeah, I would say Taken 3 is probably the more enjoyable movie. Not a great movie at all, but one of those great so bad it's good movies. This is just a typical mundane sequel to a great film that they ruined by making another one and tried to make it into a franchise, and let's just say that, sadly, that did not work out very well for them, so take that for what you will. So anyway, that's Taken 2, and now let's get to the good stuff. Probably the best movie of the entire weekend, and that is Disney's Frankenweenie.
I need your help. I asked him first. My problem bigger. Yeah, he's right.
So, how much do I love Frankenweenie? Let's ask him himself. How you doing, buddy? This is actually a toy I got when we still had a Toys R Us around here. We still had a Toys R Us around this area for about 6 years after I bought this thing. But yeah, I got a Frankenweenie plush from when the movie was coming out, and it's still in the packaging, as you can see. So, yeah, that's how much I love the movie so much. I actually got this after I saw the film. So, let's see if we can put him right here for a little bit here. Maybe we can cover the light a little bit, maybe. Just realize his eye's dirty. I gotta clean that up. But so anyway, Frankenweenie. This is, of course, based off of Tim Burton's original stop-motion film from 1984. Back when he was working at Disney as an animator, worked on a couple of Disney animated films from the early 80s. But now it's made into a stop-motion feature, while that was a live-action short, which is actually kind of interesting. That usually you have a live-action feature being made from the animated film at Disney, but it's the other way around this time around. But in this movie, when young Victor's pet dog Sparky, who stars in Victor's homemade monster movies, is hit by a car, Victor just decides to bring him back to life the only way he knows how. But when the bolt-necked monster wreaks havoc and terror in the hearts of Victor's neighbors, he has to convince them and his parents that despite his appearance, Sparky's still the good, loyal friend he's always been. And again, we talked about stop motion films with Paranorman. Most of them have been really good overall. This one is definitely one that I felt like was really, really well done overall. Again, kind of like with Corpse Bride, it didn't get the proper respect it did back then. It was actually kind of seen as a flop when it came out, but then again, when you release a movie, when you release an animated feature in October for kids, it's usually not going to do very well. At least back then it wasn't going to do very well, but times have changed since then. But I just know that this film was not the flop, that was not the hit that they were expecting it to be, but doesn't matter. I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It's not up there with stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas or Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but it's still a really good movie. I like the fact that the film follows in the same format as the short film, where it's filmed in black and white. The animation is really good. The characters and creature designs are really impressive to look at. I mean, the third act alone has some really, really cool stuff in this that I haven't seen from Tim Burton in a long, long time. And that's what I give Tim Burton a lot of credit for. He knows what kind of freaky shit will keep us hooked on the screen. I mean, even the story makes no sense whatsoever. I think Alice in Wonderland is one of those perfect examples of that. You got a really good voice casted here. You got Charlie Talon, who's really good as Victor. Atticus Schaefer, Brick from the Middle, who's a lot of fun as Edgar. Catherine O'Hara and Martin Short are good as Victor's parents. You got Martin Landau channeling his Bela Lugosi performance from Ed Wood as the teacher. Surprisingly, the one I felt was kind of misused here was Winona Ryder, who kind of plays the sort of love interest for Victor, but she really does not have a whole lot to do, honestly. She's kind of there, and you really could have gotten somebody else to play that role besides somebody like Winona Ryder, but, I mean, it's Tim Burton working with his old crew again, so I guess that makes kind of sense, but the real heart of the movie is watching Victor's relationship with Sparky. You feel that energy, and you really feel bad when Sparky meets his untimely end. I mean, I didn't have a dog when this movie was coming out, so I didn't really know the love between a human and a dog, but I've had my dog now for 10 years, and yeah, I can tell you that the bond between a dog and his human are really, really special, and it really kind of made this movie feel much closer to me overall. Like, I really did feel like there was a lot more to it watching it again recently than I did the first time I saw it without having a dog. But I will say the only major flaw about the film, honestly, is that it kind of has an abrupt ending. You have the main climax of the film happening. Sparky ends up dying again. They bring him back to life, and then the film's over. Like, we don't really get an epilogue here, and the only really thing that gets resolved is that, hey, Sparky's back, and that's all of it is. It's just like, I hate it when a movie does that. I mean, next to the liar revealed and the dream cliche, that's probably my least favorite cliche, when we don't get closure when we should have gotten something. It's the swing vote mentality. Like, it's just like, like, give us an ending here. Like, don't make us go, it's like, give us an ending here. Don't leave it empty like that. I mean, we felt like we should have gotten something there, but I don't know. To me, I felt like it was a little bit of a major flaw of the film in general, but regardless, Frankenweenie is still a really good film. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any means necessary, but it's definitely one that I feel like deserves a lot more attention overall. Yeah, I really like this little guy right here, and like I said, you can see right here that his eye is kind of dinged up there a little bit here. He's been sitting there for 13 years, but yeah, at some point I'm going to go ahead and clean this up here. But in the meantime, take a look at the trailer for our next movie that we have here, and that is, which is one I forgot about right away. Oh, Lee Daniels' latest film, and that is The Paperboy.
Stop fucking me, boy! You son of a bitch! Come on!
Boy, what an interesting decision to go after. You make a movie like Precious, which is much of an Oscar-contending film, but this is taking it to a whole nother level of bizarreness, because this is a really bizarre film. In some ways, it makes it kind of fun, but the other ways, it's kind of stupid. It's based on a true story, based off of a novel called The Paperboy, and it involves a Miami reporter named Ward Jansen, played by Matthew McConaughey, who returns to his hometown in Florida to investigate a murder case involving a death row inmate. And as you see, you have characters played by Zac Efron, Nicole Kidman, David Oyelowo, Macy Gray, John Cusack. Yeah, this is a really, really weird movie from all the different angles, but specifically for Nicole Kidman, who is really horny in this movie. I mean, there's times in this movie where, like she'll just do random things, like she'll rip her stockings off and, like, start masturbating in the middle of a public building and, like, have her clothes off and all that, which, I mean, as a guy, I'll take it because, like, I mean, I like the fact that even after Nicole Kidman wins the Oscar, usually when you win an Academy Award, it means that hey, you don't get to take you don't have to take your clothes off anymore. But Nicole Kidman's just like, fuck it, I'll still do it. Like, hey, if she keeps turning out good performances and doing what she does best, hey, who am I going to complain about that? But yeah, she's probably the best thing about this movie. Everybody else in here, like, this is a really odd film in terms of in terms of its story, in terms of the way it decides to play things. It's like a mix between a melodramatic TV soap opera, but it doesn't know what it will. The biggest problem I have with this film, honestly, is the fact that the direction is just all over the place. Like, there's no real sense of what this movie is trying to be. Is it supposed to be a parody? Is it supposed to be a serious drama? It's trying to do both at the same time and just kind of misses the mark on both levels here. I mean, the actors are trying their best with the material given to them, but the problem is the material they're given is not really all that impressive overall. It just feels like kind of a film where you're looking at it and you're going like, what are we doing here? Like, what am I supposed to take away from this? Like, you never really get the sense that you get an understanding of what they're trying to accomplish here, and it really, really feels off on so many levels. Like, it's just a film that really feels like they had no idea what the hell they're doing, and just it's this director coming off of his biggest success at that point with Precious, but Precious was more straightforward and to the point. This film is just all over the place, but hey, at least he gets back to form with his next movie the next year with Lee Daniels, The Butler, which, hey, give him credit for that. But this is a bizarre film, a film that is not really that great, but it's not really terrible either. But it is something that you should probably see just for the oddity of it, because it is a very, very odd film. And speaking of odd films, you could say the same thing about our next movie, and that is Butter.
Toast. Oh, and newsflash. It's bad for you. Yeah, I said it out loud.
I mean, Rob Corddry's making a good point, and I cut it off just when they showed the punchline where the Butter Police. There's literally security escorting the dude Rob Corddry out of the building, which I thought was actually really funny. Sadly, that's one of the only few funny things about this movie in general. This is a movie that was close to being something special, and then it really wasn't. It's about an Iowa State butter sculpture contest and the competitors and onlookers who attend said contest, which there is stuff like this in real life, and yeah, it certainly is a bizarre film to say the least, and it's supposedly a satire of the 2008 Democratic presidential primary, which, okay, it seems like a very odd thing to make a movie to make a parody off of, even though it's 2012, but that is what we got here, and you have a cast that includes Jennifer Garner, Ty Burrell from Modern Family, Olivia Wilde, Rob Corddry, Ashley Greene, Alicia Silverstone, Hugh Jackman, and notably Yara Shahidi from Blackish. This was actually, I believe, one of her first film roles. I believe it might be her first film role, honestly. I'd have to double check to make sure. But this is directed by Jim Field Smith, who made She's Out of My League, which also had a lot of problems on its own. It's a movie where it's good, but not as great as it could have been. And this movie definitely is a movie that's a film that could have been something really good, but the tonal shifts really are, like, it has the same problems as The Paperweight. It's such a bizarre concept, and it doesn't know exactly what type of a comedy it wants to be. Does it want to be like an indie film, like a Thank You for Smoking or something like that, where it's going to also have a satirical edge to it that works? Or does it want to be a quirky little indie film like Little Miss Sunshine? It's trying to be both, and also a little bit of She's Out of My League. It's trying to be all those things, but it can't figure out a tone to go with. And really, it falls apart at the seams because there are not many good laughs in here. I think, like, the actors they have in here can make for really good entertainment value, but there's just nothing in here to really make them stand out or anything like that. The comedy really isn't that funny, except for the stuff I just talked about, but I mean, the film overall is a bizarre blending of things that could possibly work overall, but it just never works out in 100% all the way through to make me say it's one you want to check out. It's really one where I did kind of feel let down about it the first time I watched it, and yeah, it's really one of those things where there's a good premise in here for something funny. I mean, the idea of a butter sculpture contest being this competitive, that has a lot of potential to be funny, but I just feel like there's never anything that makes it stand out as something that has to be a must-see. It really let me down when I finished watching it. It's just kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. There's a good idea here that could actually make for something funny, but Sadly, not the case here, so that's a skip on butter. So let's go ahead and move on to our last one that we have here, and that's the horror anthology VHS.
I like you. Did you erase it?
Ooh, the VHSs are coming to get you. Ooh. I don't even know why I did that. I see the title of a movie called VHS. I had VHSs around, so what the heck. I'll go ahead and do that. But, yeah, if you're wondering what these tapes were, this was a tape of Nora, which just came out recently. But this is a custom tape. This was someone made this on Etsy, and then it went under Macari. And then an actual VHS tape from the 1980s of the Chipmunk Adventure, the original Chipmunk Adventure, Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. Again, I don't know why I did that. A movie called VHS about it's a horror anthology, so what the hell. But yeah, this is VHS, the first part of a franchise of horror anthologies that actually spawned several movies, including 4 sequels, 2 independent spin-off films, and a mini-series. But this is the first one. They're essentially 5 short horror films built into a frame narrative with actions of its own 6 short horror films. And you have segments directed by some notable horror directors that have made some stuff ever since then. Adam Wingard, who of course went on to direct The Blair Witch and also did Your Next, as well as recently Godzilla vs. Kong, those movies. You have David Bruckner, who did he did The Ritual not too long ago, and he also did The Night House. And he also just did I think, didn't he do Hellraiser 2? Yeah, he did. He also did the recent remake of Hellraiser. You have Ty West, who has made stuff like the House of the Den, The Innkeepers, Pearl, Triple X, Maxine, and today he was announced as the director for the new Johnny Depp Ebenezer: A Christmas Carol film. Glenn McQuaid, who went on to go on and direct I Sell the Dead, and also did. I thought he did something else in particular, but no, I guess that's the only thing he's directed that's notable. Joe Swanberg. Joe Swanberg is somebody who's directed stuff like Drinking Buddies and Happy Christmas, and he also did stuff with Greta Gerwig. Who else do we got here? Radio Silence. They should be very familiar to you people out there. They did the Scream films recently. They did Ready or Not, Abigail. So these are young horror directors that we know nowadays getting their first starts with a film like this, and you got 6 different storylines here, and again, with a movie like this, an anthology, more than likely, there's only going to be a couple of shorts that are actually really good, and the other ones are just kind of okay, and that's kind of the feeling with this film in general here. Some of the segments are good, most of them are pretty good, some not so much. I mean, it's a film that kind of works overall because of the unique ideas that they have with it, and there are some legitimately good creepy elements to it. There's a lot of moments in here that did kind of make me jump the first time I saw them. I mean, this is a really solid film. It's an independent film. They do a pretty good job with practical effects in this, surprisingly, and it's something that really kind of works for the most part here. Yeah, a couple segments don't really work as well as they should, but you can tell the effort by these people are definitely in there, and you can tell that they're really putting their best works into it to give you an interesting horror film experience in general. And for the most part, I thought it worked pretty well. I thought it was an okay I thought it was an okay movie. If I had to pick probably the best segment overall, it'd probably be the sick thing to happen to Emily when she was younger. That's the one that really had a lot of elements that really took me by surprise. Just kind of like, wow, there's legitimate jumps in that one that worked kind of to the film's advantage. But overall, it's a good movie. Not everything about it works. Some of the segments kind of peeve off a little bit here, but for the most part, it's an enjoyable film. I think it's pretty fun overall. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely recommend checking it out. VHS, definitely seek it out if you haven't seen it already. And beware of the VHSs. Ooh. Okay, I'll stop now. And quite literally, I will stop because that's the end of our show this week. That's going to wrap this episode of Time About the Movies up here. Next time we meet, we've got 5 more new movies to take a look at for the second week of October, including the year's Best Picture winner. Ben Affleck follows up his success with The Town 2 years prior with his newest film, Argo. Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, before they gave us The Black Phone, give us Sinister, with Ethan Hawke in this as well. Kevin James stars in a new movie, this time around as an MMA fighter in Here Comes the Boom. We have an ensemble comedy, action comedy in 7 Psychopaths, and it's the return of Atlas Shrugged, because clearly the first movie demanded a sequel to be made. Atlas Shrugged 2, The Strike. Will it be better? No. No, it won't. But we'll talk about it on the next episode. That'll be tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.